Concast number 4. The date is May 25th, 3050. And we have with us LaserAngel.
Oh, hi everyone, it's LaserAngel again.
Kaelus.
This is Kaelus.
Contagonist.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing?
HUCast.
Right here, ready to go.
HUCast.
Hey, how you doing?
Valkyrie.
What do you people want from me?
Berty.
This is the prettiest birdie.
26.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Bill the Turnip.
Greetings.
Huge. And Vassago Rain, the infamous.
Yeah, I'm very infamous.
All right, so...
Well, you forgot the most important one.
Oh,
You did.
shit.
God.
Yes, we did. And our favorite, Jude, the voice of Kong.
That's me.
All right, so let's get started. The first topic is the world's slowest patch. We waited 3 or 4 weeks for this shit, and then when we get it, it wasn't even proper. We didn't even get the LRM damage we wanted. Yes, Laser?
I think we were discussing this earlier, but there was that April 30th patch that we didn't get, so it shifted it over to May 4th, and then we got the, was it May 18th?
The nothing patch. The mystery patch.
Oh, it was the 7th? Sorry, May 7th, and then it was May 21st, and they didn't have the April 30th patch to allow that big bug fixing. And then after the bug fixes and other things that they improved, quote-unquote, in the May 7th patch, they also issued the HUD fix, May 21st patch, and then on May 24th, they got the LRM arc fix for the indirect spotting.
Okay, HUCast?
Yeah, well, I've noticed that SRM damage is still just as broken as before. It's really, while they did increase the spread somewhat, it's still pretty piddly in comparison to other weapons.
That's just part of their plan. Can't have brawling.
26.
You know, you just say it's the slowest, but at least it did put some things that completely changed the game. Not only the Seismic Sensor, but now we don't have all that jumping meta.
Oh yeah, the grab deal sensor.
The fucking grab deal
The
sensor.
passive sensor we should have gotten from the get-go instead of 3D spotting.
Oh, no. We couldn't have
Contagonist?
gotten it.
Well, you do still get the occasional pop-tarting. Like when we were just 8-manning with Kong, we ran up against this one 8-man that was pop-tarting. And holy shit, was that devastating.
It's because you can get cover. It's free shots with no risk.
True, it was freaking Canyon Crusade, or whatever the hell it's called.
Valkyrie?
Well, on the bright side, I mean, we are at least looking at something. I think Brian mentioned on Twitter that we're supposed to be getting Reticle Shake sometime in early June, so I'm looking forward to that because then it'll stop being MechWarrior 4 HD, and I can actually go back to having some fun. And we did
won't
get
be
the
running
LRM,
around.
We did get the LRM buff. The LRMs did get buffed ever so slightly, and I think that they're just about where they need to be. It's the arc that was absolutely ridiculous. SRMs do need a buff though, because they're still kind of
Total trash.
Laser?
Oh, on Twitter, Brian said it would be the reticle shake when jumping is June 4th, so 1.5 weeks.
Okay, Kaelus?
Hopefully we'll also get a convergence as well. I know that's something they were mentioning as well before.
26?
I do like the way the LRMs work now. Often you have them as type of a damage you deal from afar as you get closer, rather than, your main damage dealer unless you're a cat.
I don't know what they're going to do with SRMs. Do you think they're going to bring back what they had in closed beta, or do you think we're going to completely go into... Berty? What you got?
I really like the new SRMs, because now they actually launch out in a rather straight kind of arc. It's not so much the crazy corkscrew fuck pattern.
Laser?
I like the new SRM pattern, at least. The damage, but I do like that you can hit things out to 250 meters now. We had Bloodcrow running a Jenner with 2 SRM4s, and he was complaining that he could not do he could not hit other lights really close in because the spread was so far apart when at close in that all the missiles would spread beyond the Jenner he was targeting.
Okay, looks like Bill's got something to say. What's up, Bill?
I still think the LRMs are having an issue. I've been in training grounds and actually in game, where if you're facing the missiles, they do more damage to the center torso than if they're hitting you from the side. If they're hitting you from the side, it does almost no damage. But when they hit directly on you from the front, it does a lot of damage to the center.
All right, HUCast?
Yeah, I've noticed quite a bit of the same thing. And also, I think different mech chassis have drastic effects on how much they actually affect you. When I fired at things like a Jenner from the front, because of its sticking out CT, I'd wreck it in seconds. But you get something like a Cataphract with like its snubbed kind of surface, I can fire just loads of LRMs at it and not do very much damage at all.
All right, Laser's got quite a bit to say. Speak your mind, Laser.
As the owner of a Founder's Catapult, I have been using missiles on and off, whether they've been good or bad, since the beginning of open beta. As with my months of experience now, if you're running perpendicular to LRM fire, you have a much greater chance of dodging it. It's even better when you're a light mech and you're going really, really fast. I, in my own catapult, when I see LRMs incoming, I will turn 90 degrees to the fire and jump jet out of the way. And if I'm lucky enough, and if I get the timing just right, the LRMs will fall where my feet were just previously.
I did want to say something. I'm just going to point this out. I don't know if anybody else saw it, but when LRMs are flying, I don't know if they fixed it in the hotfix. I haven't played since the hotfix, but when LRMs are flying now, they don't actually really move. They just kind of fly straight like javelins or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like straight up in the air, like an ICBM.
I mean, the missiles themselves don't actually move. They just go like in a straight line. It's really weird to look at.
Better
it
than
looks
the
like
old X formation.
Yeah, it really looks like when you're firing them, they're coming out in like just a straight punch into your face that cores you out. Bertie?
I know there was a lot of talk about firing arcs earlier, but I remember piloting my Atlas. The missiles tended to fly up much steeper, but when I would use my Awesome, what was it? It was an 8T or something. It's got the two missiles in either torso. That tended to fly more straight. I wonder what was up with that, if they have like a built-in arc.
26, you're next.
I'm glad they actually feel like missiles rather than how before they were, I don't know, just
it was like
slow.
Annoyance spam.
It was just like a white puff cloud eventually going to get to you.
Okay, what do you got to say, Huge?
Just touching up on something 26 said earlier about the missile changes, one thing I'm very happy about is if you've noticed, they've stopped killing mechs. Or unless you just really spam them, they seem to only seem to kind of chew through armor, but they don't seem to do much damage to the internal structure. So you actually still have to get in close in order to kill someone. You just can't spam them from forever away. Which is a nice utility. It's a change in the weapon. It has a feature to it.
Really good change.
Okay, HUCast, do you remember?
Yeah, I was going to say, when you fire LRMs back in closed beta, they spread out into like a big cluster, then reformed. I was thinking they should make it so that when you fire them in such a big cluster, they'll do damage, but extremely spread out at close range, but nothing major, and still do the same damage, to give them some kind of close range ability that they had in the other MechWarrior games.
Okay, contagonist?
The current state of LRMs and the general tactical usage is that they allow slow mechs to still contribute to a fight, while the faster ones, get in and start brawling.
Alright, 26 has got kind of a rant.
Well, you see how the LRMs are now when they come at you. They're a relatively tight pack. What I was thinking, rather than have them do splash damage, when they get to you, they're in a more spread out form.
Okay, so I guess we've gone over LRMs now. Should we talk about our new assault mech?
Yeah.
Finally.
Okay.
Oh, have you been holding that
3
one
months
in?
delayed.
Oh, yeah, who's been eating his Wheaties, man.
So we've got this huge delay, and when we finally got it, it was not the Banshee like Kong had thought. It ended up being the Victor like only a few had thought. And it's basically going to be an Assault Centurion. HUCast, what have you got to say?
Yeah, my opinion, and quite a bit of others here, is that the Victor is just essentially a boring and kind of dull mech. The other mechs that were introduced, even in the Assault class, like the Highlander and Atlas, are quite similar, and the only thing unique about this is the arm-mounted AC-20, which isn't really that much, and a lot of us are just kind of bored with how it's going down.
Alright, Dashing?
Well, the thing about the Victor, especially the default variant for the Victor, it doesn't have very many hard points. It has the 1 ballistic on the arm, it has the 2 energy points on the other arm, and then it has 1 SRM-4. And even if they expand it, as an 80-ton mech, as an assault mech, it just doesn't have the kind of firepower that it needs to have.
Okay, Kaelus?
Well, lore-wise, when you're looking at the Victor, it's a support mech. We have an 80-ton support mech. It also has jump jets, but we have an assault with jump jets, so it really has no purpose at this point.
Alright, 26?
Just basically agreeing with Dash here. What role does it really honestly fill? And other things are way more stronger, and its speed, if you really need speed, just get a 70-ton mech. You can get the same amount of damage.
What about you, Huge? What have you got to say?
Well, there's two things I'm upset about the Victor. If that is the Victor, we do not have a heavy ballistic assault mech. And ballistics are so heavy that you kind of need an assault mech in order to boat them effectively. And they're just not giving it to us. That's kind of upsetting.
Yeah,
but the other thing is also, it's another humanoid mech. I want strange-looking mechs. I want weird mechs. This is Battletech. It's all about these goofy-ass designs from the 80s. And we keep on getting these things that are essentially just guys in armor.
I'm just going to step aside for a moment because I want to bring this up. Everyone is now asking why don't we have a Mauler? And I brought this up back in closed beta with polls, and I even said PGI should have some leniency on making shit, but this is what you got. Yeah, I know, not enough variants. We could make some, but that's all I got to say. We could have had a Mauler. Could have had a Mauler!
Could have had Annihilator. Could have had anything.
Right. Contagonist, you're up.
Yeah, and actually, going in again with the aesthetic standpoint, while Flying Debris, the artist, has actually been doing a fantastic job updating most of the designs, the Victor didn't really need an aesthetic update, and even then, it just doesn't look as eye-catching as the rest.
Okay, Harabec?
Yeah, I think we were all pretty prepared for the last assault to be a fairly boring design. I mean, there was no chance of us getting a King Crab or anything, but we really should have gotten something, as I said, with ballistics. It's a huge niche that's missing from assaults, and I can't believe they didn't choose something more suited to it.
Okay, Kaelus?
Speaking of ballistics, there is a variant that has machine guns in the side torsos. So
God.
We all know what that means. It's going to be the only assault with the dual AC-20.
I'm going to be Victor and be a big faggot. Everyone's going to have to deal with my pretty face.
With jump jets!
With jump jets, yeah. Okay, who's next? We got Kaelus, so is it Berty? Berty, are you next?
Oh, I...
All right. Vass, you've got a lot to say. What's going on?
I really have a lot to say. Well, everybody pretty much touched up on that. We got another humanoid mech. Doesn't have ballistics. Doesn't have many interesting builds in general.
I thought you wanted the Annihilator.
I did. I wanted Annihilator. I wanted a ballistic mech.
Annihilator would have been glorious.
Yeah, something different. Something that you can put a small engine in and just make a turret out of, but no.
Alright, I think we need to move on. Let's move on to the BJ, the Blackjack.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves a BJ, right?
Yeah.
They go down
I
smooth.
hate bad BJs, though. I'd rather just not have them at all.
We're farming them, actually, at the moment. Okay.
Go through a lot of BJs, then?
HUCast, yes, we're going through a lot of them.
I've noticed about the Blackjack is the Blackjack's limited to either two roles, a designated energy boat or a ballistics pop-tarter because it can't hold much armor because of the ballistic limitations of weight. And you can't really have a Blackjack running around with two AC-2s out in the open because it'd be blown to smithereens in seconds because of its wide torso like the Jaeger.
Alright, 26?
Yeah, you really don't know what you're going to get with the Blackjack often. Like you said, energy boat or a pop-tarter. And everyone thought before it was going to be kind of junk, and it is still.
Okay, dashing?
The one thing I like about the Blackjack, it's probably one of the only properly sized medium mechs.
Yes.
It comes up to about the tits on my Centurion, which should say that my Centurion is way too fucking tall. You know, that thing's like the size of a damn awesome. Like, in bulk-wise, it's as big as an awesome.
I actually feel the Centurion should be where, Blackjack is actually at. We have one Conger who actually is an ardent Blackjack user. His name's Spud. He's not here. I wish he was, because he's got a few things to say on it. But from what I can tell, he's getting angry because we don't really have our laser HSR or anything. Plus, at the moment, people are just farming it with streaks and LRMs, so it's not even a real fight. Huge, I guess you're next.
Oh yeah, actually, just a tiny bit off topic, back to the previous talk. We never talked about streaks, and they're still only hitting center cockpit, and that's still an issue. And I don't know when we're going to get that fixed, but yeah, it is tearing BJs apart. Even 4 is enough to just pretty much outbrawl any BJ, even if they have the jump on you. It's just not fair.
I think Vass had something to say about engines.
Yeah, it's stuck with the tiny ass engine. So
it doesn't
you
look
don't,
like it goes fast at all.
Doesn't go fast. You don't get the full double heat sinks, the actual double heat sinks. You really don't get a lot out of it. The only saving grace of the Blackjack is, well, it's small. It's the size it should be. Rather, maybe PGI is thinking it's
what is its
too
top
small.
speed? Does anybody know? Because I don't really do that.
110 for the fastest
Oh, God.
with speed tweak.
That's
it's
not even
fast.
26?
I was just going to talk about the streak scan. I don't know if you want to get sidetracked.
You can do that a little bit. Got something to say about it?
Basically, I don't know if you remember earlier, I think it might have been in August, when they had LRMs and they had a kind of a twisting motion. Why don't they add that to streaks, and then that way it would spread the damage more?
Maybe, but that's more of their registry problem as it is. I think we should move on to a new topic. Let's talk about the Canyon map. I actually like it. Trench Warfare. It's actually pretty good. Everyone's got something to say on it. I'm going to let Hugh, since it seems he's got quite a bit. Go ahead, Hugh.
Well, about the Canyon map, when I play it, it's very nice, well, better aesthetically than most maps. I'm not mentioning Alpine, but...
It's got color!
When I play the map...
Yeah, blue sky!
When I play the map, I find that...
A nice big planet you can see.
It's good for brawling when you get in close, however, it's very easy to be trapped into a place where you can be pelted by LRMs and not do anything about it, but I guess, then again, it's my fault for knowing the map better.
Alright, Huge, what's your rant?
I love this map, and I am so happy they either figured out how to start making maps like this, or they accidentally did it. Whatever it is, I hope they repeat it, because it is what I think is a good map design.
It's because
we have
it's
something
just
for
hill.
everyone. We have long range, short range. There's multiple routes. It's not just, okay, upper, lower, or, cave or dropship. It is 3 or 4 routes I can count that are actually feasible, and it is a fantastic map to fight on.
So who do we got next? Contagonist, then?
I think you skipped me for HUCast. Or you skipped HUCast for me.
Shit. I'm trying to keep this concise where we've got...
We have a lot of...
Connor, you're failing
today,
us.
In case the
all
audience didn't
right.
realize.
26?
I love the map. Interesting problem with it, though. I think it surprised people in the fact that you actually need tactics for it. So a lot of the times you kind of just have a lemming effect in it.
Okay, let's move on to our next main primary topic. Current balance and meta, 40 years in the desert. No, we got the street cat again now. Arabec?
Yeah.
That was for the previous topic.
Ah, shit. Jude?
Well, it is nice to see most of Kong bringing out their white whales again.
Holy Grail indeed.
Holy Grail. HUCast?
Yeah, from the current metas, it seems that PGI has a gigantic switch that's just terribly unbalanced or just balanced. However, LRMs nowadays are pretty close to what I think they should be at. They still need a bit of tweaking, but I'd say I'm a bit surprised by PGI's ability to hotfix things to make them somewhat better instead of just one way or the other.
How about you, Valkyrie? What do you got to say?
I was actually going to say something pretty much to the opposite effect of that. The thing that I've noticed about PGI is it always seems like they either over-nerf something or they over-buff something to the point where, machine guns and flamers notwithstanding anyway, it's almost like, the way I put it is, you're trying to park in a garage and PGI floors it and goes through your living room and goes, oh shit, and backs up and then gives the other dude a new car-sized door in his front lawn. I don't understand why they seem to not be able to kind of find that balance a lot. I'm thinking that if they start to push stuff out with, quote-unquote hot fixes that go out at the same time a sale patch does, I think it'll make things go a lot better. Because I do think this sort of extreme to extreme sort of jumping is a result primarily of the fact that we're only getting patches every 2 weeks. I mean, I look at, Steam whenever I have a Wargame Airland Battle, and I notice it seems like every single other day there's a new patch going out where they buff or nerf something and just kind of play with it and tweak it and find something that works. I mean, we can give them really good feedback here in about 30 minutes after a patch, so it really should be something where they need to be on the balance thing a lot quicker than they currently are.
I think that was about 30 X's. Okay, Huge, you're up.
Actually, just touching up on what he said, something I've been keeping my eye on. It's been very, very steadily moving in the background. It's kind of unknown, but I have been watching it. The LBX-10.
Yes.
And the way they are changing it is how they should be changing every damn weapon. Every single patch, it's gotten one small buff. one small buff, tighter spread, less heat. Just these small things, and it is now just barely kind of gotten to this point where I consider it somewhat viable on a few builds, like the 3D and the Atlas. It can use them effectively.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
And LRMs or all these other weapons, they seem to jump from worthless to nothing but it, and then right back to worthless again. Usually, LRMs kind of got somewhere close now, but usually they kind of do these big jumps. They never do these small buffs, and I don't know why.
All right, Vass, you're up.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that so much changes when they really don't do a whole lot of changes. Because, it's like I said, we get tiny changes, and then the whole metagame flips itself over. Somehow. And that's about it. Everything else was covered already.
Okay, so then we've got Build the Turnip.
I have noticed some of the changes with the LBXs. I actually used to run them quite a bit, and they were fairly good on the, I think, one of the cataphracts with dual LBX and 4 medium lasers.
310, or 3D.
I think the problem is they're changing things, but there's other things that they are changing that are too far. So the LBXs might be even a little bit too far now, too. But it's just the meta game that's going on now is causing them to fall so far behind.
Okay, Kaelus says he's been testing, so what have you got to tell?
Well, I've been testing them mainly on my DC dual LB10Xs, and if you hit lights low enough, you can one-hit their legs, and that makes it very valuable. And you can even brawl other Atlases and such.
You know, it'd be really useful with the passive radar, the Seismic Sensor.
Well, it is, but also the other thing about the LBX is they have a really fast recycle time. It's only 2.5 seconds. So you can put out a lot of damage in a short amount of time. And if you're close and brawling, things go down really fast.
I want to know, let's get off topic for the moment. I want to know why the Seismic Sensor wasn't something we got from the get-go, and why we're stuck with 3D spotting.
Because the sensor is OP as fuck. The wall hack.
Okay, 26.
Well, the reason we got that so quickly is because everyone complained so much about ECM. I bet if ECM wasn't the way it is now, we wouldn't have seen that thing at all.
Maybe. Contagonist?
One thing I have actually been seeing is generally that there hasn't been a lot of love given to ballistic weapons or energy weapons. I mean, the only ones that I actually see commonly used are the medium laser, the PPCs, and for ballistic weapons, the AC-20.
A little off topic there, but still good. Who we got next? Huge?
Yeah, just something about the seismic. I think the reason we didn't have that and we had the 3D targeting is because most of these maps are so small that if you kind of stand dead center, you have map hacks of every single route. You just kind of know, like on Frozen Valley, I know when people are coming cave. We don't even have to send people in there anymore. You just know.
You can stand on the ridge. You'll see if they're going there.
Let's talk about World War LRM 3.
We have to. Really?
I think we covered that early on already.
What, Lermpocalypse?
Yeah,
we can go into a bit more detail about the trenching, I guess.
The pubs are now carrying it, and everybody sort of wants to do it. They want to sit back and learn everything to death without actually moving or doing anything. Laser?
It started off like that at the beginning of the week until the hotfix, but you noticed that it took like 2 or 3 days for people to actually start carrying AMSs again, and you would see mechs go out alone. And it's like, oh, I'm just going to shrug off these LRMs. They're dead.
Yeah. 26.
No, aside from the AMS, unless they all focus fire with the LRMs, really they haven't seemed to be that much of a problem when it comes to taking down a single person with them.
Okay, HUCast?
Putting on the thing about the current meta of the game being LRMs, I think a big part of how small changes make big ripples in the current meta is due to the fact that when people flock to a certain weapon, people see it as overpowered because there's so much of it going around.
Right. Let's go ahead and move on a little bit with this. Since we've got our missiles now, or they're coming still, that means we'll be moving to... What is it next? Lasers or ballistics laser?
Lasers, because they have to fix laser hit scan rewind. Or host state rewind, rather.
Right. Contagonist?
Something broke.
I'm, in regards to actually trying to tweak lasers or something, I'd advocate maybe having the beam direction shorter so that there's higher DPS.
Okay, HUCast?
A good thing I've noticed quite a while after buying my new 5S Stalker is that once you fire a good deal of lasers at the same time, it's causing me to disconnect straight to the mech lab. It doesn't happen to be in my DDC nearly as often, so I'm just thinking there's some kind of connection between the two. Whenever I seem to fire a bunch of lasers, I crash. Just my opinion.
Alright, Samurai has something to say. Go ahead, Samurai.
Going back to the LRMs again, you have to kind of wonder what the QA guys are doing over at PGI, because this isn't the first time that, drastic swings because of lack of testing like the splash damage has occurred. And, it just kind of makes you wonder how they're testing internally when a public test server could have easily found that oversight within hours.
Okay, Laser, you're next.
Oh, I've completely forgotten, so next.
Oh, right. I'll go to Huge then.
Senility
Huge, you're
among
up.
old men.
Yeah, just touching back on that LRM testing, is what I don't get is they even say they have different machines, or they have different servers, or some of these things might be different.
Right, they've
Within
got a testing
15
server.
minutes, everyone went, whoa, what the hell is this?
Right,
How
because what are
can
we
they not
supposed to be
catch that?
doing? What are we supposed to be doing then?
Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to be testing it, obviously, but
Yeah,
if even
sure.
one person would have just tried this on OR servers, they would have gone, this is going to be something of an issue, I believe. But they didn't, or they didn't care.
All right, Bertie.
Yeah, that was my question. Did we ever really discuss in the podcast how different the developers' PCs are, their rigs?
Yeah, they'd never explain anything. It's just like, oh, well, we've got our own machines and things operate different around here. Well, we'd like to see it. We'd like some data or a video displaying it or anything. Laser?
Just so you know, they have mentioned before that when we talk about various machines, the most information that I've actually seen personally is that they have machines with various hardware types, like different video cards, different processors, different platforms, Intel or AMD. And I know Kaelus, I think in podcast number 2, touched on that there's PGI does testing, and then IGP does testing, and there's about 30 days. They have a 30-day cycle where they can sort of address things short of the hotfix. Now, for this patch cycle, they mentioned on Tuesday, after they patched, and I believe Paul went on the boards and made a post that said, oh, yeah, if you haven't noticed the LRMs, I'm surprised you haven't, but we missed our patch build, getting this last LRM completed, the how we feel, getting our implementation of LRMs, we missed it to getting it into the actual patch build by 1 day. We're going to hotfix it, otherwise we're going to include it in the June 4th patch.
All right, I want to sidestep here, and let's talk about the next upcoming possible balance changes on lasers. I'd like to see pulse lasers be useful, and I'd like to say that, what they're doing with flamers is all right. I can kind of see it. Jude, are you running your 9-flamer hunch yet?
Oh, I will be.
That should be glorious.
What does it run on?
But they're going to have
run on propane?
Yeah, it runs on propane. Clean burning propane.
Cleanse them with fire.
But they need to do something with pulse lasers because, come on, they've been useless for so long, and it's a staple in atlases. I guess larges are okay, but it's it's such a small margin, it's still not worth it. And I would still like to see pulse lasers that continuously fire until you release the button. Samurai?
A lot of little changes could push pulse lasers into actual being viable. Like, for instance, you could just take away the heat penalty and give them the same minimum range and max range, and that way the tonnage offsetting would offset the decreased beam time.
Okay, Bill the Turnip?
I still think they need to take a look at the flamers again. I've actually been running the 9-flamer Hunchback, and it can overheat people, but it still is difficult to do so.
With 9 flamers?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So flamers are still useless. Great.
They add heat now instead of, doing
they
nothing.
add heat,
but they add super little.
You still overheat yourself faster than the enemy.
Yes.
Well, what it is it's the exponential. Okay. It's exponential, so the longer you use it, the hotter you're going to get. And especially with those 9 flamers, you can, once it starts heating up, you're all overheated.
All right, now we can get 26. Go ahead.
You're right, it is exponential. But one thing I've noticed, it's really hard to tell. I don't know if you can test that in the test part or whatever. But whenever I have used Flamer, I used one, and I was able to pretty much keep a stalker from using his lasers. He used everything else but the whole time I kept a Flamer halfway on him.
All right, Huge.
You know, I just had a thought. Maybe we're doing it wrong. Maybe we installed them backwards, and they're actually shooting inside, and what we see is just backdraft. That's why we're overheating more than the enemy we're shooting. I mean, this could just be an honest mistake.
That's what we get for paying for fucking
sticker
cheap
on it
mechanics.
that says, point this towards bad guy.
Face towards enemy. But also, on the number of flamers to use, very briefly, I kind of fiddled with them. I forget the exact number. Someone did a lot of work on it. But it's actually only like 2 or 3 flamers that actually gives you... because it's like a burst of heat, and then a small incline of heat on the enemy mech, not just you, because whenever you use it, you also get that burst of heat. But when you use it on an enemy, it instantly brings his heat threshold up from a certain degree. So actually, you only need to vote a few of them in order to be somewhat effective. And the more you add, you're actually just making yourself hotter for no reason.
Makes no sense.
All right. So we're not going to move on then. Okay, the next topic is what is Kong, or what's a Kong? How about everybody give their background? I'll just go down the list here. Bertie, what's your background?
I've been a MechWarrior fan since Mech Commander really came out. I dicked around with it on PlayStation, that's how plebe I am. But I first started playing in closed beta as soon as the Founders grab deal went. And I actually have a couple really shameful videos on YouTube of me just being a noob.
Okay, Bill, what's your background?
Yeah, I started, I bought in as soon as I could get the Founders and messed around for a little bit, and I wanted to stay in it, but I didn't really have the motivation to keep playing. And then that's when I kind of found the thread to keep me motivated to keep playing.
Okay, Harabec.
Yeah, I started playing MechWarrior back with MechWarrior 2 and played every mech title since then. Never played the tabletop, though. I found the General just because I've been on 4chan for as long as 4chan's existed, so it was the natural place to go for me.
Okay, Cocaine?
I didn't accept, but when I'm probably one of the younger members, and when we first got a PC at our house, MechWarrior 3 had really cool box art to me, and so that ended up being basically my first PC game. And I've liked MechWarrior since then. Like, played Mech Commanders. Those were my favorite of the MechWarrior titles. And when I heard about MechWarrior Online, it was still under an NDA. And of course, on 4chan, they broke the NDA with pretty much every single post. And that was like the main place for me to get information for it. So that's where I got my information. That's where I stayed.
Okay. Connor, as for me, I've been in love with Battletech as far as I can remember. I like the artwork. I like the books. My real step into the video games was I had Battletech on the Genesis, and then it just went from there. The next one now, Contagonist.
Yeah, I guess I started with Battletech all the way back in '94 when my aunt gave me a Christmas gift that was TRO 3055, and I've been in love with the game ever since. But due to being in the ass end of nowhere, I could only play the computer games for a while. And then relatively recently, some game stores up in town, I got into the tabletop, and then I got back into the games whenever, well, at least MechWarrior Online, whenever this started up. And I've been playing since, like, first wave of beta.
Okay, Laser?
I've been into Battletech since the cartoon and My Home Planet. And,
My Home Planet!
My Home Planet!
A classic.
Yeah, but, MechWarrior 3 was the first game I actually played, but I know a lot of people who had MechWarrior 2 since it shipped with their PCs, and I've always been on 4chan since about 2005, and I lurked the VG thread until I got streak-catted by a Kong 8-man back when you could 8-man in the puppy pool, in the public pool, and I just started joining up since then. That was probably back in September, and I'm a founder too.
Okay, HUCast?
Well, I played MechWarrior 2 since I was a little kid. Well, not that little, but when I played the first games, I remember I always enjoyed them quite a bit. I always thought MechWarrior 3 was the most tactical experience in my life back then. But anyway, I eventually came across MechWarrior Online Beta back in the time where I didn't have a very good computer. And I figured I'd skip it. But now that I've got a more powerful computer, and I've found the VG thread, since I've been a member of, well, not really a member, but someone from VG for quite a while now, I've just figured why not, and I've been having a great time since.
All right, huge.
Well, I'm not like any of you turbo nerds. I never played with the miniatures and paid $85 for a hunk of plastic or, played on outgraded PC games. My first MechWarrior was actually MechAssault. Yeah.
Oh my
and you know what my second MechAssault game was?
You plebeian!
I enjoyed it.
It's
Let
fun.
the hazing begin.
I had fun.
It's fun online.
That's a
But
crime.
having fun.
Be excommunicated from Kong immediately.
Fun is a buzzword, man.
I actually bought it because I didn't know what to expect. Then I got kind of pissed off.
You know, it's a game. It's a good game in its own right, but it's not a good BattleTech game. Anyway, I was just kind of lurking TG. The thread came up so many times. I was like, okay, I just got to take a peek at it, and I just got so interested. I paid to beta, got in, been playing since April. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay, Jude, the voice of Kong.
Well, I remember playing MechWarrior 4 about a decade ago when it first came out, and it had breathtaking, groundbreaking graphics.
No.
But,
MechWarrior 3 looked better, dude.
I played it on a computer that could barely run it, so I just kind of dicked around in the mech lab, and then when I opened the game up, like to actually play it, it ran at about 10 frames a second.
Oh my god.
Then, about 6 years ago or so, I also played through one mission of MechAssault in, like, my cousin's house. And, I kind of completely ignored the entire franchise until recently.
Oh,
when I jumped on MechWarrior Online, and my friend convinced me to hop in the Kong vent, and I went in there, and everyone just kind of started sucking my dick right away. And
it's the voice.
I also tried the tabletop
that
after
charisma.
that. And I still much enjoy the tabletop to MWO. And that's about it.
All right, Kaelus.
My first MechWarrior game was a game called Crescent Hawk's Inception by Westwood Studios.
Oh my
RIP.
god.
You are old.
Way back. Older
I
than
think
me.
it was about 1990 when it came, right around
Old
there.
men.
Older
Anyway,
than me.
I've played every MechWarrior title. I've played tabletop. I've been in closed beta since right after the Friends and Family. So, and I have way too many drops under my belt.
All right. Rather Dashing?
Well, let's see. My first title was MechWarrior 3. I think my uncle gave it to me. He was really into BattleTech. And I found MechWarrior 4 and I bought that. And, well, Mech Commander and Mech Commander 2, those were probably my favorite games. And, been waiting like the past damn decade for a MechWarrior game and find out this game's coming out. Well, I joined the forum and the website back in 2011. I just kind of sat with my thumb up my ass, waiting to see what was going down. And long story short, found people on 4chan talking about it. I've been on that website since about 2006, I guess. Bunch of pissed off, bitter old men talking about it on VG. Figured I'd fit in there, and found Kong, started rolling with them. Been in the closed beta since about July. All in all, it's been a rocky experience. To the extent where I quit playing and I completely missed repair and rearm, so all the people complaining about that, like I'm in the dark.
You lucky bastard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Repair?
Like,
repair
I
and rearm.
played from about July to September, and then I started playing again, well, not September, maybe August, I guess, and then I started playing again back in January.
Repair and rearm is the reason why I eventually joined Kong full on. Before I was there from time to time, but as soon as repair rearm, you had to join up to make money. So they created a monster. They created me.
Turning tricks for C-bills behind the dropship. It was
just
to fund my mech.
The war crimes I had to commit just to make $1. I had to remove so much kebab.
Holler, holler, get dollar.
Okay, we got 26.
My introduction to the MechWarrior universe, well, BattleTech, was actually getting the Elemental toy from the cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I had one of those.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I had a Mauler.
I don't think I've ever seen the cartoon. I just saw it in the store and thought it was cool as hell.
Oh, yeah, it was.
I had the Elemental and the Axeman.
It was actually pretty fun as a toy. But a few years down the road, at one of my dad's friend's house, his kid was playing MechWarrior 2. Then that had freaking lasers and missile stuff. And then a few years later, I got a hold of MechWarrior 3 as well as Mech Commander at the same time. Blew my mind because at 12 you didn't know what the heck you were doing, but just stacking a bunch of Clanner UAC 20s on everything.
God. All right, Val.
That sounds adorable.
Well, I know I made fun of someone, I don't remember who exactly earlier, for playing Mech Assault, but that was... Well, I started the Battletech franchise with MechWarrior 2, but the problem was I was about 5-ish when I got it, and our computer was a piece of crap, so it played the intro cinematic and then stopped. So I never really got to play anything after that, but then eventually I ended up playing Mech Assault because it was, the demo I think was on the Xbox magazine, and I was like, okay, that's actually kind of fun. And I asked my mom, hey, can you get me Mech Assault for my birthday? And she ended up getting me MechWarrior 4 because it was on clearance. And I was kind of like, oh, this kind of sucks. And then I started playing, it was like, this is fucking awesome, I love it!
Good job,
and ever
Mom.
since then, yeah, and ever since then, I've just been huge into BattleTech. I played MechWarrior Dark Age. I know everyone's going to hate me for that, too. But BattleTech as a whole has been pretty dead around here. So I played Dark Age through up to almost the end of the game's life cycle. Now I'm looking to play tabletop BattleTech with people, but still can't find anybody to actually play the damn game with. So in the meantime, I busy myself getting mad at golds on VG and playing with people on rare occasion when I feel like I'm not going to get up there and just get wrecked by Pop-Tartars.
All right, now for the infamous Vassago Rain.
My turn. Alright.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. Okay, I do. We started playing actual 40k miniature game. Then somehow we managed to expand out into actual BattleTech. And the only models I ever own for that are the modern plastics and a whole bunch of unseen metal figures. Then we kind of forgot about that for the longest time. And somewhere in the late 90s, I think, magazine that releases best of PC games, they had a special where you could get MechWarrior 3 for free. Signed up for it, and I did. And I've been in ever since. Through MechWarrior 4, MechWarrior 3, then I picked up MechWarrior 2 later. And the moment I heard about MechWarrior Online, I got in here. And I met Kong and the VG Fred and everything. When Ice Griffon, a guy who kind of regulars with us, he was telling me someone was posting screenshots of my criticism of PGI all over the place. And he pointed me to the group. And I've been here ever since. That's my story.
All right, can Whispers talk, or is he still in limbo? He's still in limbo. All right.
Okay, so we have to
Whispers,
make up
you have
Whispers'
to-
backstory then, right?
You have to not actually whisper into the mic in order to speak. That's just how that works.
Laser, you got something?
Can Whispers actually speak, or do you want me to finish this off?
I don't think he can. Do we have to finish this off? Because we still have quite a bit.
No, no, just this topic, finishing off what is
Oh,
Kong.
yeah.
Well, just so you know, we're from 4chan, we met up on VG. Some of us come from G, which is technology, M, Mecha, TG for traditional games, but tabletop and boards, and we ended up sort of making our own little community in the VG
You forgot
thread.
K.
K,
Yeah.
yes, K too.
Where did that come from?
Which is
He had a gun.
He has a real gun.
He has guns laying around.
He has
Guns
all
and
the
trim
guns.
everywhere.
You do too.
Just he has an
Operators
entire
gotta
box
operate.
of them right by the computer.
Well, mine's in a box, so
They're
it's
like
kind of far
cashews.
away.
He just,
Anyways.
he just works the action and then tosses it.
I was
Yeah,
cleaning
but
my
go on,
shotgun
Laser.
earlier today. I had it out. It was
Okay, let's
it was
move
quite
on.
funny.
We gotta move on.
26, what do you got?
I figured we'd discuss about how it came to change all of Kong.
Oh. Well, Laser, let's go into that.
Well, we eventually sort of made our own little community based on our Ventrilo server, which is Kong Interstellar, because I'm sure in the first or second episode we had Beaky mention sort of the origin of the name of the Comstar Dish Network, or...
Why can't we be Comstar Dish Network?
It's Kong Interstellar.
It's Kong Interstellar Security Solutions, because it's part of an existing corporation, however, does not infringe on anything that PGI could possibly change. Like, we're not Comstar, so PGI takes over Comstar, and suddenly we can't have that name.
The
so
fucking Blakists.
we're in-universe, but still just far enough outside that we're not an issue in case PGI says, here's the official so-and-so Merc group, you can't have that name, etc. We control everything. Don't overstep the boundaries.
Yeah, we can't be killed by cannon.
You know why Kong was picked, right?
Yeah, I know, because of that other group. What is it, HUCast?
No.
It wasn't.
Well,
it wasn't.
It was picked because of the mem.
What I wanted to say about the Kong vent.
The Russell Year Jimmy's gorilla.
Yeah.
That was.
Oh, yeah,
that was
I
like
know
when I was
that.
first taking off, and we thought.
But
it
wasn't
would be
there
hilarious.
another?
No, it was Gorilla Dollars or something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, there's
Oh,
was
Gorilla
that, and he also had
Dollars.
the Russell Jimmy's bit.
But wasn't there originally a Kong mercenary group?
Kong Interstellar Securities.
Well, Kong Interstellar is they're a producer. They're not actually a mercenary group.
Securities is like a protection agency.
But that's the one we made up.
No,
Yeah,
it's like an
security,
actual.
but
No, there's an
thing.
actual canon one.
Yeah, there is a Kong Corporation, and it's the only Battlemech that I know that actually
They have
produced
several.
is the Black Knight.
Black Knight
Harvester
and
Ant.
all the
Harvester Ant.
Yeah.
They have the Ots Scout and the Ots something else or other.
So we're kind of canon, sort of, maybe.
The Harvester
No,
Ant.
kind of, sort of.
We're
Best
just
known for its use on Haruko's World.
But I thought we'd also
We're the
discuss
fucking
about.
mall cops of BattleTech.
All right, so this is kind of a mess now. So who have we got to talk to next? Come on. Is it Hughes?
Yeah, what I was going to say is about the event in Kong. A lot of people think that Kong is like this thing you have to join or be a certain person to join, but in reality, all you really have to do is just drop in. Just come in, talk a bit, play a few games. As long as you're not too like trying to annoy everybody on purpose, then you're really not going to be. Really not going to.
Yeah, as long as you don't do stupid
rejected here.
voices or.
As long
doing
as
the
you're
stupid
not a
voices
jerk to us,
over.
you can be a jerk with us.
I am Spartacus.
That's a good way to put it.
I am Spartacus.
Be a jerk with us.
I am Spartacus.
I am Il Khan.
Get the fuck out.
We're literally we have no hierarchy. Everyone just does shit, and some people follow along. Some people think it's cool, some people don't, and we argue and fight, but it works.
We kind of get spiritual leaders.
It works because we don't have a hierarchy. Anyone can do whatever they want.
We are
if you
a
get some
gigantic
popular
circle
support,
jerk.
do it more.
To put it a different way,
We are communism in action.
Kong is not an organization.
Kongism.
Kong is a concept, is what it is.
It's a thesis, an antithesis.
90% of the
Anti-life
people
equation.
who originally made Kong aren't even here anymore.
Yeah.
Kong and his idea. A bad idea, but
what do
an
you got
idea.
to say, Laser?
Where did Norris go?
Everyone back up. Laser's got something to say.
Oh, just that pretty much anyone's welcome to our event or our thread, and that's about it.
Yeah. We're actually hemorrhaging players really bad right now. And
Everybody
I'm not
is.
just talking... Everybody. Period. I saw Lefty Lucy's now in Jade Wolf. I'm like, really? Lefty Lucy? Didn't I wreck her shit back in December? God damn,
There's
that's
even
long
a
time
her.
ago. Yeah,
worry
it's
for
even... Who knows? Who really knows? But, God, we play the same people, like, repeatedly. Last night, how many times did we run into Hayashi?
Large and diverse player base.
A lot of times.
We ran into Hayashi and their group like 6 or 7 times. And because there's no way we have that many people now. I'm wondering if we even have... We've got to have somewhere in a few hundreds. I don't know. I do not know how many hundreds.
You know, I play late at night, and I can testify. I play maybe 15, 20 matches between 12 and 5 a.m., and I would say at least 10 of them, I'm running into the same 5 or 6 players. On my side and their side. Not in drops, but I mean just regular random thrown into things. And I keep on running into them.
Because, well, how can you expect anyone to stay when, okay, we've got, the hit scan registry working now, this is how lasers should work, and then never mind, it's broken. Like, we keep getting these state rewinds, and then they break it how long will this keep going? Does anybody got anything to say about this?
Like I said, it's that up and down sort of back and forth, one extreme or the other kind of balancing that I mentioned earlier. I kind of have this mental image of, that scene in the first Austin Powers movie where he's trying to turn around in the little cart and he keeps backing up and eventually he just gets stuck in between. That's kind of, unfortunately, the kind of mental image that I have of PGI's balancing system.
But if you remember, he did get unstuck.
Yeah. No, he didn't. He just hopped out.
Okay, who is
car.
it? Is it HUCast we got now?
Yep.
HUCast has got something to say.
I was gonna say, the game is really needing to step something up before it's gonna lose all its player base if it doesn't. So many things seem to be going wrong. PGI is gonna have to make some massive changes in its whole structure if it's gonna keep its player base. Because right now I'm seeing ads everywhere, but I'm only seeing maybe a couple hundred players playing the game actively. It's ridiculous.
That's what happens when you introduce pop-tarting.
Alright, I'm going to let Laser moderate this for a sec. Laser, start up with the still no... Come on, you can do it. Still no optimization, malformed packets, it's our drivers.
I know some people are having some issues on their Alienware M14X laptops with Optimus. And how the performance seems to be tanking on NVIDIA laptops with Optimus, and we also have the sort of malformed packet crash, which usually sends you to your mech lab instead of just crashing the application. Now, from what I've heard from Infernus 1986, who is participating in the thread currently on the MechWarrior Mercs page, is that there is something to do with the timing that you're spamming packets over UDP and the server can't handle the stream, or the timestamp on the packets is too strange and the server says, you're swarming me, I can't handle this. But the existing solution appears to be an OpenVPN, I forget the name exactly, but there's this VPN application which actually increases your ping from someone's existing 2025 to 45 to 50. And that appears to be the current running around workaround solution. And in the recent LRM patch, they added tracking in order to resolve this issue, but they are aware of malformed packets.
That's only the solution, though. If you ask the technical team, if you ask the forums, they will tell you to buy a new computer, stop being entitled.
Yeah.
Alright, 26.
It's our fault.
I like how they're only tracking it now.
I've heard it's been about an issue for a month, so yeah, tracking it now seems a little sluggish.
Contagonist?
Well, if you have an Alienware PC, the problem is that you have an Alienware PC.
Yeah, and you deserve it.
Is that about it, Connor, for this one?
I think we pretty much hit it.
Well, I haven't been getting them. I honestly have not seen it, so I know it's happening, but...
I just hope that they actually get this thing running, because I'm still running at 18 FPS.
Yeah, with your actually kind of modern laptop or whatever the fuck you're using now.
No, I'm using an actual computer.
Ooh.
It's on a desktop. It's been. No, it's not a MacBook. Fuck. I actually run everything else fine. It's just I've got a very odd build. But still. There's no reason my fucking AMD... Yeah, I know. AMD processor. And it's screwing me because I didn't go Intel. And I wish people would start using my video card and stop using my processor.
You're entitled if you're asking for DX11. You know this, right?
Yeah. I thought they were supposed to have DirectX 11 because they were paying people to get them ready and everything.
Oh, no. Their position has changed. Can't have DirectX 11. Maybe for release.
Maybe next time. Well, until we see everyone again, Jude, play us out.
This podcast was sponsored by Clan Propane Eagle, bringing the light of America where it's needed most.
Are you a house military with a pirate problem? A factory concern dealing with raiders? Has someone talked shit about your waifu? You've got big problems, which call for big solutions. Strong solutions. Kong solutions. Kong Interstellar Security is here to provide overwhelming firepower where you need it most. 30 meters from the face of your enemy. Kong specializes in all forms of individual combat. Brawling, dueling, brawling, cell brigade, brawling, backstabbing, More bosses, scent bombs, flying chickens, splat cats, street cats, goss cats, sway bags, camelbacks, dakafrags, boom boxes, noisy crickets, brawling, and battle dildos. No enemy is too cheesy. No build is too optimized. No Swede is too drunk. Bad credit? No credit? No problem. Kong cuts costs at every opportunity by cutting back on extraneous expenses like rank insignia, command and control equipment, food, clothing, and dropship life support. Kong achieves the lowest overhead in the inner sphere, and we pass the savings on to you. The next time your enemies need an attitude adjustment, or your needs fall outside the Ares conventions, remember, Kong strong. This advertisement sponsored by Plant Propane Eagle, bringing the light of America where it's needed most.